This is the Fox Squad. They're a specialized unit created by the General Student Council President to deal with major threats and Kivotos. But apparently that was a couple years ago, and in the present, the disbandment of SRT and the disappearance of the GSC president has already happened. Now, they're taking orders from the Chief Defense Officer Kaya of the GSC, and we all know Kaya's a fucking bitch. This is Yukino Shita Yukino. This is Shichito Yukino, also known as the squad leader of the group. She's considered by her peers to be perfect and always follows orders to a T. And this is Nico, the sergeant, Kurumi, the point woman, and Otogi, the sniper. Huh. Doesn't this sound really familiar? Anyways, if you read last chapter, Kaya wanted the Fox Squad to make contact with their underclassmen. What? Did you forget? This volume isn't called Rabbit of Supernog for nothing. Somewhere in the park of Diu Shiratori, we're back to our usual activities with the Rabbit Squad. They're actually settling in perfectly, despite them being homeless. But it's not a Blue Archive story without Sensei. After the events of Volume F, we thank the Rabbit Squad for helping out during the crisis. We do a little bit of trolling, then we stay to have some breakfast with them. Out of the blue, Miyako brings up that there might have been some data stolen during the attack on Charlotte's building. Moi, being the super genius hacker that she is, she's able to pull out the surveillance footage from that day. Despite Kaiser Corporation being the ones to stage the attack, there were apparently soldiers with different gear. And apparently, that gear is SRT equipment. If you remember that in Chapter 1, they realized that they might have sold their non-essential weapons to those intruders, basically funding their whole scheme. Keep in mind, they're hiding all of this information from Sensei, because they don't want to cause trouble for us. But before we return back to Chalet, we remember we had some extra... Wait, where did everyone go? The Rabbit Squad makes it to the location where they suspected targets from Kaiser to be. For some reason, it looks oddly familiar to the indoor worker arrangement they used during their time at the SRT training facility. So with this information, and because they're the elite Rabbit Squad, they go in very confidently, only expecting Kaiser goons. After a quick analysis of the building, Miyako notices that even after busting down a wall, they still haven't made contact with their enemies. So, she reports back to... Never mind, she falls back to... And Yukino brings over the last one. Unsurprisingly, it's Miyako. The Fox Squad reveals himself, covering this up as a welcome party for their underclassmen. But before asking any questions, they go ahead and have some inari sushi together. After the Rabbit Squad gets a bit of scolding from their upperclassmen, Miyako finally brings up and asks what they stole in Charlie's basement. Well, of course they'd be suspicious about this. After the closure of SRT, the Fox Squad kinda just disappeared without a trace. Only to find out that they've been causing trouble in the GSC building. But Yukino second guesses the Rabbit Squad's trustworthiness and questions whether they have ulterior motives. She asks, if you were ordered to go against Sensei, would you? By asking this, she transitions into inviting Miyako and the rest of the Rabbit Squad to join the Fox Squad, which would disband the Rabbit Squad and ultimately relieve them of their burdens. But of course, the Giga-chan Sensei somehow sneaks into the building. Somehow, without getting spotted. Because the Rabbit Squad suddenly left the park so suspiciously, he ended up stalking them, like usual. Anyways, Sensei meets Yukino for the first time. But even though they want the Rabbit Squad to assimilate into the Fox Squad, Sensei asks the Fox Squad to give the Rabbit Squad some time to process. Before leaving, Yukino whispers to Miyako that she sent them a location where they can all go if they ever change their mind. Back at the park, the Rabbit Squad apologizes to Sensei. Of course, we know that the Fox Squad were the ones to steal from Charlotte, and the Rabbit Squad wants to rebuke them for their actions. But before that, Saki suggests that we need to pinpoint whatever they stole in the first place. But Sensei then says that we shouldn't really worry about that right now, and of course, wants to know more about the Fox Squad members. So, then the Rabbit Squad gives us a rundown about how the Fox Squad functions and what their personalities are like. Miko is like a mother to the group. Along with her excellent inari sushi, she's able to stay calm in any given situation. Kurumi, on the other hand, is a grumpy but very skilled frontliner, and is able to analyze any circumstance extremely well to adapt to the battlefield. She also quickly became one of my favorites, if you couldn't tell. Otogi, unlike Miyu, as a sniper, is very sociable and has a huge presence on the battlefield. She's also known to have incredibly good coordination. But also, in addition to Yukino's Miss Perfect personality, the squad really trusts her with their lives. They trust her to the point that if she told them to jump off a plane without a parachute, well, they'd do it. Miyako starts to get melancholic, then goes off that the Fox Squad was what they aspired to be, and how much they've matured compared to them. She thinks about it again, maybe if they didn't go through all this, maybe if they just had followed orders, and let the Fox Squad take responsibility. Out of nowhere, the GSC has an emergency broadcast where Kaya is making a statement. In summary, Kaya uses an excuse that Rin, the now previous acting GSC president, didn't do shit when a fucking tower fell from the sky. But it's not like she could. So now, Shiranui Kaya has been instated as a new acting GSC president. And on live broadcasts, invites us, the sensei, for an urgent meeting.